all feel proud to be part of KPMG. And now we're at the part of the night or the part of the afternoon where I'm going to share with you what my purpose story is. And so I think we'll start the music and dance. So let me tell you a little bit about my purpose story. My purpose story really begins back with a 12-year-old girl. So picture this, 12-year-old girl hanging out with two of her girlfriends, bored on a summer afternoon, like, well, what are we going to do next? Let's head over to the supermarket. Maybe there's some new magazines that we can, go to the newsstand and look at. So we head over there, and my two girlfriends, they know exactly what magazines they're looking for. Because what else? They're 12-year-old girls. They're looking for the teen magazines, but more specifically, they are looking for pictures and stories about David Cassidy and the Partridge Family. Now, many of you probably are too young to even know who David Cassidy is. So just think Justin Bieber. Basically the same thing. So there are my two friends looking at teen magazines, and I also know exactly what section of the newsstand I'm headed to. I'm going over to the news magazines. And my favorite magazine is U.S. News and World Report. And they have this section of that magazine that comes out every week that talks about pros, point and counterpoint on government issues. So that's my favorite thing. And I know I can feel some of you are already feeling my pain, saying, oh my God, she was such a nerd, I can't believe it. And that probably was true. But it was the beginning of me understanding that, hey, there was something about government that really excited me and interests me. And that desire just grew. When I was in high school and when I was in college, what I'd do is every season I'd pick the candidate that I thought was most worthy. And I would dedicate myself to working on that campaign. So what does that entail? You go door to door. You're out in front of, well, at that time it was the Grand Union, they've closed now. But out in front of the Grand Union, you'd be stuffing envelopes, you'd be doing phone-a-thons, and you may say to yourself, well, geez, what would inspire you to want to give up your free time to do that bunch of stuff? And, the answer was simple. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to have an impact on society. So I graduated from college with my accounting degree. There wasn't a doubt in my mind what I was going to do as my job. I said, why would I go anyplace else? I am going to go work in government. That's where I can make a difference. This is what I've been preparing myself for. So I go off and I get a job as the accountant for the Department of Aging. I say the because there was only one accountant in the Department of Aging. And it did meet my desires and my expectations. The very first thing they said is, hey, we're applying for a demonstration grant with the federal government. It's going to totally change our department. We're going to go from $3 million a year to this grant is worth $10 million. And what we're going to do is we're going to do case management for the elderly. And in that way, by doing case management, we're going to keep them out of nursing home placements. And in doing that, we're going to save money and we're going to improve the quality of life for the elderly. Oh, this is totally the stuff I wanted to be part of. Wonderful. There were only 8 of these grants being given out across the country, and I was at Rensselaer County, and we won one of the 8 grants. Great. No sooner, because remember I was brand new, had I figured out how to draw down these funds, then in come walking to Rensselaer County these very slick dudes in these very slick outfits with big audit bags. And I'm like, it was clear they weren't from Rensselaer County. And I said to them, who are you guys? And they're like, well, we're from Anderson. Well, what are you doing here? Oh, we've been paid by the federal government. We're going to project manage all these demonstration grants across the country. We're going to make sure you're doing all your reporting accurately. We're going to make sure the grant's meeting its objectives. And I said to myself, I didn't know that the Big Four, the Big Eight at that time did such things. The light bulb went off. And over the next couple of years, as I was working on that grant, and those Anderson guys were in and out helping us with that grant, I came to realize, hey, they're not any different than me. They have the same passion about government that I do. And also another light bulb went off that I said, hey, and they explained to me other projects they were doing for the federal government, which also sounded very fun. And I said, maybe I made the wrong choice. Maybe I can have more of an impact outside of government than I can have working in a small county doing what I'm doing now. So I started to do some research. And lo and behold, don't I find a firm who's very good in government. You can guess what the name of that firm is. KPMG. And even better, they have an office in Albany. So that was it. That was history. I made my decision I could have more of an impact and do what I really wanted to do by being with a firm like KPMG. I get to KPMG, it was 1987, and KPMG had just won this big engagement, the New York State single audit. And I can tell you, and I'm looking at Jim because he was there at the time, the office was moving away from that job. No one wanted to be on that crazy job. But for me, it was a dream come true. I'm like, oh, I can go work at these state agencies, and I'm going to get to tell them whether or not they're using federal funds right. Sign me up. That's exactly what I want to be doing. And to put the icing on the cake, that very first year we found a large fraud. Oh, even better. We got rid of the bad doers, we saved money for the state, we turned the programs around, and that was really just the beginning. You know, after that, over the next few years in the government practice, we rode trends up and we rode trends down. First we did reinventing government. We had a big project at Albany County that lasted 2 years where we helped government get more efficient. And welfare reform came in. In New York City, we helped them go from 5 million population on welfare to 1 million. Wonderful work. Then we did 9/11 and Homeland Security. That generated a whole bunch of work. And in between, of course, we never stopped doing the audits. We're doing more state single audits. At the same time, the federal government passed an act that all the federal agencies had to be audited. And you guys kind of know some of the rest of the story today, the kind of things. We're still following the trends. Only the most recent trend was when Obama came in, he had the Stimulus Act, bunch of new work. Then we have the Affordable Care Act, another bunch of new work. In fact, I do get a bit of a tickle out of the idea that the biggest project we have right now in the Albany office, the district work with the Department of Health, the people on it know exactly what that's about. Why don't we do some case management to improve quality and lower costs? I think that was the same thing I was working on in Rensselaer County. But seriously, that's going to be a landmark engagement for us. So going back to that 12-year-old girl, I have fulfilled every career goal that I have. And just telling you about what is my purpose. My purpose is to make government more accountable. So that's my story and why I'm here.